All right, Era, tell me about how you got started in missions. I understand you did some kind of an internship.
Yep. When I was finishing up college, I had interest for many years in missions.
Okay.
And when I'd finished up college, just finishing up, I was looking for another ministry cross-culturally because I
Okay.
wanted to go into the mission field. And I had worked in Mexico, wanted some more ministry opportunities and exposure, and I met Rick and Nikki Davis in a inner city outreach to Southeast Asians doing church planting.
Okay.
So I joined up with them thinking I'd be there for a year, thinking I'd get to the field.
Yeah.
And God had other plans.
Okay.
And he said, I have a lot more to teach you. And I was able to serve for 5 years with Rick and Nikki and the rest of the team there in San Diego. And then after that, God opened up the door for me to go overseas. And
Okay.
so in 2004,
Right.
I went to Cambodia.
Right.
I've been serving there the last 8+ years in Cambodia doing church planting.
No kidding. How close is what you're doing in Cambodia to what you were doing with your internship with Rick and Nikki?
Surprisingly very similar. Maybe the only difference would be the inner city factor and immigrants and working in English. So in the time that I worked with the ministry in San Diego, I was able to learn all about Asian ministry from Rick and Nikki and their experience and just living in the community. We had opportunities to eat every kind of Asian or Cambodian food. I basically could say pretty safely that I'd almost tasted everything in San Diego that I've tasted in Asia except for fruit.
No kidding.
So being able to be exposed to things I didn't like to eat and learned how to eat them in the safety of my own country where I could go home and eat what I wanted.
Right.
Was able to learn a lot about the culture.
What kinds of cultural things did you learn during your internship that have been useful to you the last 8 years in Cambodia?
Probably a majority of the things I've used today are from things I learned in San Diego. And I think some of the cultural things would be like lack of privacy and that everyone's involved in your business and that's normal and acceptable. I was able to learn that by living with and around and exposure to Asians, Southeast Asians at that time.
So at that time you learned, okay, I can function in this environment because you were doing it.
Yeah, and also like the food. I hated fish.
Okay.
And fish is what you eat almost every day.
Yeah.
And so being able to have years or a stretch of time to learn how to like it and forcing myself, but still being able to eat what I like at other times, that was another one. Another one was really learning about the worldview. So I was able to go to Buddhist funerals. I was able to sit down with Asians and ask them, and they speak English, at least somewhat. And so I could ask them, well, why do you do this? What's this about? They could tell me, I had a dream that this evil spirit told me don't study the Bible anymore. And I could understand their worldview in a way that I don't think I ever would have learned as fast in Asia. Because one, they're not aware of their own worldview because they've never seen anything different where the Asians here were. And so that really, really helped me, really prepared me. When I went to the field, there are many missionaries who've been there much longer, never been to as many Buddhist funerals as I had.
Wow.
I was able to learn the name of certain evil spirits and their powers here and go to the field and find out lots of people didn't even know of the Western world, didn't know about that yet. But I got exposed in San Diego.
Wow, what a powerful, powerful thing. Now, since you've been in Cambodia, has your life changed?
Yes.
Yes, how so?
I don't even know where to begin.
How about your name? Has your name changed? You have a different name now?
My name has changed. I got married since moving to Cambodia
Okay.
to a Cambodian national named Nal. So yeah,
Okay.
my last name has changed.
And what's your last name?
Nyam Van.
Nyam Van, okay.
Yeah.
So we can tell people that if they do an internship with Rick and Nikki, anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Okay.
Sure wasn't expecting it myself.
That's awesome.
But I really encourage people who are interested in career missions to get the exposure, I don't think just to the culture, but also to church planting, to how to do ministry, to be involved in discipleship, and get a feel for what that looks like and what it means in a way that is almost a safe environment. And I just really encourage people to do that because it made a tremendous difference for me. And when I went to the field, I didn't really experience the same kind of culture shock as other people did, and adjustment, and it was a great blessing for me.
You learned cultural things and you learned many things that are great for cross-cultural from Rick and Nikki. If you learned anything about what the heart of a missionary is from this couple, what would you say that one thing would be?
One thing. Maybe to combine it together that we've talked a lot about is God's glory, and that it's about God's glory and who God is, and that I remember one of the lessons I had to learn, and they helped me process through it, was I was not born to be a missionary. And my goal in life was not to be a missionary and have all these adventures or whatever, or go to some amazing tribe and bring them the gospel. My goal was to be God's child, to serve him and be obedient to him and love him.
Wow.
And that's something that in that time, those years, God taught me through that time I had.
Wow.
And I think that's an important thing for anybody, because that's going to go into career missions. If your focus is off, you're not going to last. You're going to be miserable. There's a whole lot of other problems. But keeping our focus on God's glory and who God is.
Yeah.
And not who we are and what we're doing.
Right. That's awesome. Thanks, Era.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.